What's the best job for a lazy person? A guy on the surveying crew has the job of watching a surveying GPS unit all day. He gets dropped off with the unit, sets it up and sits there and makes sure it doesn't get stolen and that the blue light is still on. That's all he does every day, day after day. He thinks his job is the greatest thing ever. I worked as a security guard for a trucking company on the weekends. The rest of the company conveniently didn't work weekends, so I had the whole place to myself. I worked 12 hours days and walked around a small wing of the property every hour and documented anything that was out of the ordinary. Almost nothing was ever out of the ordinary. Other than that, I didn't do anything. It was actually really boring because the guardhouse was outside of the Wi-Fi area, so I blew through my phone data really fast. To cure the boredom and ease my phone bill, I bought a portable DVD player and watched every DVD I had. A lot of IT related office jobs at big companies involve a lot of downtime for one reason or another, where you're just sitting around waiting for work to come in. Just be careful what you wish for. I did a 6-month work placement at a place doing QC on medical data entry. It was as riveting as it sounds, and due to poor management there were massive stretches of time, like more than a solid week, where there was nothing for us to do. We were literally begging for work because we were so freaking bored. If someone had asked me to start hoovering the carpets, I would have jumped at the chance. Creative IT jobs like the video games and special effects industries are major exceptions. I'm a backstage doorman at a Broadway theater. I sit around watching Netflix and Hulu and all that crap all day. If I'm feeling ambitious, I'll read a book or write some stand-up material. It's a pretty sweet gig and perfect for the laziest of people. Damn, I wanted to work as an actor on Broadway, but the superior job has just been sitting there the whole time. Back in college, I was a computer lab monitor. I just had to sit in the lab and once every hour count the number of people there. If I was opening or closing the lab, there was about 15 minutes of work for that, but otherwise I could just surf the web or do my homework. I had this job in college. I did two things. Towards the end of the term, periodically yell. If you are on Bebo, Facebook, or any other non-academic site, please make room for students that need a computer. The printer also had a green button that needed to be pressed once a paper tray was depleted so it would draw from the other tray. There was a sign above the printer that said this, a sign on the printer that said this, and a sign by the queue to the printer. Still, I'd constantly have to deal with this issue. The printer's not working. Did you press the green button? Yes. So if I go over there and press the green button, nothing will happen? Yes. Inevitably I'd press the green button and it would start printing away. I still have no idea why this would always happen. The failure to read and then the lying about having pressed the button. But as far as jobs go, this was pretty sweet. Though more busy than a parking lot security guard, which is what I came in here to suggest. The person that sit on a chair in the museum. They just sit there in one of the most quiet places I visit. And when a person stands too close to one in artwork, they just cough a little and tell you to step back. Though a friend in college once had this job and he said that it was so boring there was no way he could keep at it for very long. I had this job at a fairly popular museum. My duties included clicking a counter every time someone came in and telling them not to touch the art. I wanted to basically die after a while. My job. I make the ballistic fiber that goes in bulletproof vests. I basically just watch movies and play on my phone all day long while the machine runs. As long as everything goes smoothly, I have around 5 minutes of work to do every hour and a half, whenever the machine is ready to run new packages. And I'm on break half of the day too because we do 1 hour on the floor, then swap out with our relief for an hour. So every other hour you're on break for an hour. And I have a 2-hour lunch. I make $30.23 an hour and all the overtime I want. I used to go to the factory where they make giant rotating machinery for power plant generators. It would take a week or more to machine these giant discs and the machinist just sat there watching this giant, computer operated machine do all the work. If an error popped up, the machine would stop, sound an alarm on the computer, and the machinist would pick up the phone and call an engineer to come fix it. Also, they didn't do any of the removal or setup. that was done by a team of engineers and transport folks. $30 per hour. There are a lot of weird jobs like this. My GF's dad sits in a room and watches like a dozen monitors for a specific alert. If the alert pops up, he phones somebody to notify of the alert. And that's it. He makes $100 K plus. Worth mentioning, this job requires a high-level security clearance though, so that's why he makes so much, I would imagine. Do you date Lisa Simpson? Find a remote data entry job and outsource it to someone who will do it for cheaper. Let them do your job and just collect the difference. A programmer outsourced his job and just Reddited all day. Not overnight, but the most pointless job I ever encountered was at an Asian grocery and kitchen store in Chinatown in New York City. There was a basement level with its own checkout, but they no longer used it. One guy's job was to sit at the lower level checkout, and when guests came up to pay, he told them, by pointing, to use the first floor checkout. Damn. They could have literally put a sign that said the exact same thing there. Sysadmin, I hate my life. I've automated 85% of my job. I'd be shocked if I worked more than 4 hours on an average week. It sounds great, but damn, it's boring sitting here surfing tomorrow's Reddit today. I worked at a pool the summer after my senior year of high school. I wasn't a lifeguard, I just had to have the person show me their Navy card to get in the pool, and I had to check the pH levels of the pool at the end of every day. Only had to text my boss, could be on my phone the whole day, chilled with my then girlfriend, and ate food. Didn't even have to clock out for lunch and got an extra half an hour every day. The downside was working in the hot sun. You'd be under an umbrella, but the job could get boring. Edit. I should also add, most of my friends were Navy kids whose mothers or fathers were working, so I would be able to chill with them all day too because it was their neighborhood. All in all, pretty good gig if you're lazy. Edit 2. Also, one time, me and my friends were there and there was a live skunk in the pool filter. He was trying to swim, so we took a pool net and gently pushed him into it and let him down in the grass outside. He was just laying on his back panting frantically, then he jumps up and runs in the woods. I have it on film on my old iPhone. Hurricane debris cleanup crew safety monitor. This won't apply to you unless you live in a place where you are hit by hurricanes at least once a year and don't minding working 12 hours days, 7 days a week. I promise you that 10 of those 12 hours per day will be spent sitting there, doing nothing, playing games on your phone if the battery lasts long enough. I switched to crossword puzzles to try and save my battery. Keep in mind, this job only exists immediately after a hurricane hits and then for about 4-5 months afterwards, depending on the strength of the hurricane. You will get time and a half on the final 44 hours of the week, so you essentially get paid for the work of someone who has 2 decent entry-level jobs without actually performing anywhere near that amount of work. Truck driving. And not in a bad way. I drove a semi for a few years after the military, and it is by far the best job for low energy introverts. You get paid to do nothing other than stare out a window and listen to music, podcasts, radio. You have to get out every now and then for work, but you won't be doing any back-breaking work and it won't be longer than 10-15 minutes at most. Best job if you like to be alone and not really have to do anything. Plus it pays really well. Lifeguard at the Olympics. You need to be pretty unlazy in the first place to get that job, though. My job, I'm basically ignored by everyone and wasting all my day on Reddit. I'm starting to wonder how long it will last. Where do you work and how much do you get paid? I'm working for a plumbing contractor as a project manager, but 95% of stuff is managed on site, so they don't need me most of the time. I have this huge 12 feet x 14 feet office with multiple monitors and nobody can see or want to know what I do. So I wait for the phone calls and place some orders here and there and Reddit all day. The salary is $65K per year. Get an office job, figure out how to do it in a fraction of the time. Coast for a couple of years. When a coworker quits, tell your boss that you can add their responsibilities to yours instead of hiring a new person. For a 40% raise, figure out how to do that in a fraction of the time. Get all your work done every day, and also spend hours on Reddit. Bonus: literally nobody else knows how to do your job, so they'll think long and hard before downsizing you. It helps if you understand Excel, or whatever your office uses, more than anybody else in the company. Ah yes, the classic do no work spend all day on the internet making six figures job that everyone on Reddit has. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more videos and don't forget to like the video if you've enjoyed it.